Today, I want to talk to you about the art of collecting information properly. But first, I wanted to make sure that you understand where does it come in as far as the 6 steps of the business format system, right? So you have to understand that there's a 3 sales step process that we do. The first is the one-on-one appointment, which is you've heard the video earlier today about the one-on-one, which contains the 4C. So that's your very first appointment with your client. The second is your FLS appointment, or FLS stands for Financial Lifestyle Strategy. And that is the appointment wherein you actually gather information. And we'll talk about that in more details in a little bit. And the third is the close. And obviously, when you go to the close appointment, you're ready to close the client either as a recruit for you or a sale. All right. So let's focus on the second one, which is your financial lifestyle strategy appointment. Now, you've heard earlier from Josh Litauer, who actually talked about the actual FLS on how to run the actual information gathering appointment. And then so what I'm just going to describe to you right now are the key points, right, on how to do that properly. Okay, so here are the main key points that we want to remember for us to have a better understanding about gathering information. And so, by the way, what I want you to remember with gathering information is when you sit down with a client to gather information, that's not the day for you to expect a close. All right, so I just want to make sure that you come in with a clear mind, that your heart and minds are aligned, right? That you're not there to expect a sale from a client, you're there to gather information, and that purpose is clear. Okay, so you want to make sure that if your clients are married, that both of the husband and the wife are there. Okay, and I guess that's for obvious reasons, obviously, and you want to make sure that you at least do it at their house because they're more comfortable, right? And if there are any more informations that they may be forgetting or they may be needing to get or to look at, they're right there. They have easy access to information. And also, if it's a husband and a wife, a lot of times one of them is actually the main person or the primary person that handles finances. And so you would want to make sure that both of them are there. And another thing to remember is that your FLS or the FLS appointment actually needs to be booked right away after the first appointment, ideally within 24 to 48 hours from your one-on-one appointment. All right? When you get to the client's house, you want to sit together in the kitchen table, right? I mean, you don't really want to sit in the living room. It's not very comfortable, and depending on how the living room is positioned, you don't really have a good eye contact with them. When you sit down at the kitchen table, you here on the left side, the clients on the other side, like you have that eye connection, right? You're looking at them straight in the face, that you have a good view of, their facial expressions. You want to review the one-on-one. So obviously, the first time you sat down with these clients was the one-on-one appointment. And then so before you start the FLS or the financial lifestyle strategy appointment or the information gathering appointment, you want to make sure that you go back to some of the things that you talked about during the one-on-one and ask them if there's any questions that they would want to go back to. Ask them if they have some clarifications that they want to make, right? Maybe some questions about the financial concepts that you presented during the one-on-one, right? So that's important. Next is the gathering data part. Now, make sure that, of course, you're there for an information gathering appointment. You want to make sure that you have the right form. All right? I mean, it's funny if you go to an FLS appointment without the form in your hands, right? So how are you going to run the actual appointment? And so we have an FLS form that we actually use. Carry that with you. Make sure that, always carry that. Make sure that you have copies in your car. Now, when you start the information gathering appointment, there are 2 general rules that you want to remember for that meeting, all right? And this is what you tell your prospective clients. First is, tell them, today is not the day for you to decide. Today is not the day for you to buy anything, so I want you to feel comfortable you can put your checkbook away. Second is, if you have questions, I would like your permission not to answer them until we get back together the next meeting and until I'm able to get all the information that we need and I'm able to study them and analyze the full picture of your current financial situation. Is that fair? So what are you doing there? You're actually setting the psychology of the appointment, right? I mean, you want to make sure that, hey, this is for them to feel comfortable. If they're not ready to make a decision today, then they don't have to, right? And also, if let's say if you're not that seasoned in the business and you just started doing the appointments on your own, that also gives you enough time to actually go back maybe to your mentor or to the person who trained you in the past to ask questions that you didn't know the answers to, right? So remember, it's okay not to know the answers to everything. You just have to know who to ask. Next is you want to get 2 commitments, right? So 2 commitments in order for you to set up the expectations for the close appointment, okay? And then so the first commitment is you tell your prospect, if I can show you a plan to accomplish all your family needs, is there any reasons why you wouldn't want to do business with me, right? And so, and that gives you already an idea about things that you can eliminate at that time. Because for all you know, maybe, hey, the primary decision maker of this household is actually the father, right? Or the father-in-law. Or maybe they have to actually talk to brother-in-law. Or maybe they actually have a financial advisor and you just didn't ask, so they didn't tell you, right? The second is, you tell them, if we do business, would you refer me to 10 of your friends? So this is you setting up the expectation that if they are happy with the service that you provide, that you actually will be going to ask referrals from them. So a lot of the things that we do in our business, really all of these appointments that we do is all about human nature, right? You have to become a good student of human nature. You have to understand what moves people. A lot of times, you may feel like you know a lot and you're very knowledgeable, but you know the saying that people don't care how much you know until they actually know how much you care, right? Next is, once you've gathered all the informations, you've went through all the forms, and you talked about the rules for the meeting, and you got their commitments to those 2 questions that you posted to them, you want to make sure that you set the date for the close appointment, right? And so, again, remember that when you run an appointment, your goal is to always get to the next appointment. Set the date for the next appointment. So you want to prepare your clients for possible competing agents. Again, that's another delaying factor that could impact your business, right? Remember that you're not the only one that are doing this for people. You're not the only one that's licensed. And so there are, many other agents there around that potentially are talking to them. And so you want to identify whether that's the case, whether that's an issue that you need to tackle. And why is that? Because, if there are comparisons that needs to be done, then you can make sure that you actually bring that to the table on the next meeting when you sit down with them. So let's say, for example, hey, this agent have given them a quote for something, and make sure that, hey, some clients will actually ask you, hey, can you bid this? Can you show me something better, right? So you want to make sure that you identify all of those potential roadblocks, right? So that your next close appointment is actually going to be smooth. And of course, you want to re-invite them to the business presentation meeting. So let's say, for example, hey, you've done the one-on-one appointment with them, and now you just completed the FLS appointment or the information gathering appointment, and you set the close. Again, you want to remember that you always want to talk about recruiting. So do not miss an opportunity to actually identify opportunities for recruiting conversations. And then so, hey, you can re-invite the client to actually attend either a virtual presentation meeting, or if they have time on a Tuesday night, maybe in a week or 2, that you actually would love for them to go to the business presentation meeting at the office. All right? This is actually quite simple, you guys. The more you do it, the better you become. The more comfortable you can be. The more knowledgeable you will be with the words that you will use, right? And of course, the more commitment to the third appointment, which is the close, is you're going to get. And so I just want to encourage you guys to, every single time that you book an appointment, if you're not too confident about the steps and the process, we have the website. Go into the website and watch all these videos. I used to do that when I was new in the business. When I need to do a one-on-one, I make sure that, an hour or two before my meeting, I go watch a one-on-one appointment video. So for the FLS gathering appointment meeting, there's also videos you can watch, and make sure that you're utilizing all these resources in the website so that you become better at what you do.